2022 is here. Carla, are you ready for the initial fantasy team and tennis racket giveaway slash $500 in cash slash YTech strings giveaway for the very first time in 2022? Are you ready?
Of course.
Let's lock in.
All right.
A brief video, as always here on our 5K Tennis channel. We have Diadem and YTech strings that help Carla out with these giveaways. So,
Carla and Justin. Carla and Justin.
What did I speak wrong?
Just Carla. No, Carla and Justin because we're a team. Go ahead.
I like this.
All right.
It's been a while since we've actually done a video, so, believe it or not, we sit in our own house and our son Jonathan is actually filming this because our internet sucks here, and he's actually holding it, so we're recording it. We like to do this live, right?
Definitely. But, we live in the island, so there you go.
Carla's like my yin and yang. She's like my equilibrium. Okay, so here are the two competitions for the Australian Open, as we always do. Number one, we do a fantasy team competition, and number two, we do a competition that involves a really simple procedure, and you can win $500 in cash, 2 tennis rackets of your choice, from Diadem, that is, or 2 reels of YTech strings, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I'll start with the easiest one. The biggest contest is to win $500 cash, and most people want that.
Of course,
Sometimes stringers want the reels or strings, and sometimes people want the rackets if they're players because it comes out to be the same.
Absolutely.
But it's the easiest one to do. All you have to do to qualify to win is to predict the men's finalists and the women's finalists for the Australian Open and both winners. Okay, and let me repeat that. Predict the men's finals, the women's finals, and both winners. So, in other words, once the draws come out, let's just make up something, Carla.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I thought that Naomi Osaka was going to meet Ashley Barty in the final, and Barty was finally going to be the first Australian woman since, Jesus knows how.
Not going to happen, but go ahead.
Anyway, the first Australian woman in so long. Margaret Court maybe the last.
Right.
Pre-US Open era or pre-Open era to actually win on her home turf. Let's just say I thought Osaka was going to play Barty and Osaka was going to win.
Or Barty was going to win.
Okay, whatever.
Because you just said first Australian.
My fault.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping me. Shoot, let's go. Come on. And let's say on the men's side, I thought Djokovic was going to defeat Medvedev.
Probably.
Okay, sound pretty good. Okay, so anyway, if I would have would have selected that properly, then we would have won the $500 cash or 2 rackets of your choice from Diadem or 2 reels of YTech strings of your choice from YTechs, and or up to $500 worth of 5K tennis merchandise. We have socks, we have shirts, we have cell phone cases, right? It's on Teespring. Okay, so the only problem is what happens if there's a tie?
You gotta do the fantasy.
You gotta do the fantasy team.
Mm-hmm.
So, what happens if there's a tie? All right. So the most fun competition is the fantasy team. So the fantasy team competition consists of players from all over the world, and I want to give a shout out to a couple of people right now. Okay, number one, shout out to Gene Swart in South Africa. Much love to you, fine young man. Also, shout out to Ivor Savage, who is the owner and CEO of YTech Strings in South Africa, and I think they're both there right now together.
Okay.
I know Gene Swart resides there, and Ivor is there.
Oh, cool.
Because I spoke to him earlier, and he said he has not come home yet.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, hopefully you travel safely, Ivor. And as well, there's another 5K tennis family member, Thomas Chi in Canada.
Correct.
Thomas Chi in Canada has created a bit of software and algorithms that will keep up with the players. And
They both will, actually. I think Gene is going to do it also. So they're both going to check each other's work.
Freaking go! 18-year-old Gene Swart.
I think Tom G is also young. I think he's another
Yeah,
as
big
well.
things. Let's go. Tom Chi has a brother, by the way, both tennis players. Gene Swart, player, big-time Djokovic fan. By the way, does everyone see this Djokovic poster on the wall here? Everyone see it? This was given to us from a water polo place in Houston, Texas, called the Balkan United Water Polo Club. By the way, I also have a Novak Djokovic hat on my head that Florence Chan sent to me. Actually, Florence Chan sent me that one. Yes. So what I'm getting at is every year we put new posters on the wall. Every year we do. but no one but Djokovic fans gives us anything to put on the wall.
Shame on you, Nadal fans. I'm really disappointed in you guys.
Man, tell you what, I wear my Djokovic hat with pride because no one else but Djokovic. There's never been a Federer poster up there. There's never been a Nadal poster up there.
Shame.
Djokovic fans send us hats. They send us pictures. They send us autographs. I don't even know what's going on.
That's tough for me to swallow.
Yeah. Okay, so here's how the fantasy teams work. Okay? Fantasy teams will consist of 9 men and 9 women. Okay? On the fantasy teams, you can only have, out of the 9 men, 9 women, a maximum of 4 players seeded within the top 20.
Of that tournament. Of that Grand Slam.
Yes.
We get a lot of mistakes. Whatever seed they are in the Grand Slam, the Australian Open in this case.
Exactly. So if Felix Auger-Aliassime, and I only say this because this has happened multiple times before, because he's always like, ranked 20 in the world, and he comes in seeded like 18. When the tournament draws come out, 21-20. When the tournament draws come out, the numbers of your teams have to do with how they are seeded in the tournament and not ranked in the world. Right. So if Djokovic pulls out, the seeding will change. So just
pay attention.
Wawrinka.
Do your research.
Wawrinka. Okay, so
Team's out, so that's gonna bump somebody up.
Federer's out.
Yeah, not that it really mattered, but yeah.
You're right. You're right. Okay, so you must have a men's and women's team. You will have a total of 18 players. You will have 9 men and you will have 9 women. Okay. Out of those 9 men and 9 women, you may only have 4 players, a maximum of 4 players seeded in the tournament within the top 20.
Right.
Okay, you can have as many unseeded players as you wish, as many as you want. You don't have to have anyone in the top 20. You can have all unseeded players, but you must have 1 wild card or a qualifier. Okay. Now, why is this important? Players that are seeded within the top 20 are worth 1 point per match win. Players seeded number 21 and on, moving forward, are worth 2 points per match win.
So we're changing it up a bit?
It's the same thing I've always done.
Well, it's always been 4 in the top 20, 3 in the top...
No, we're doing 9. You don't lose them. No,
okay,
it's the same thing as last
turn.
You brain farted.
Okay.
Is that a brain fart?
No, one before it was a wild card and then the rest and unqualified.
Can I get like a hug on that?
Okay.
Let's reset on that. Okay, because that was a brain fart.
Okay.
Okay, now that you got done with the brain fart, you can only have 4 players that are seeded within the top 20. You can have as many outside the top 20 as you wish. However, you must have 1 wild card or a qualifier. Now, the players seeded within the top 20 are only worth 1 point per match win. The players that are seeded number 21, moving on down in the rankings, are worth 2 points per match win. The wild card or a qualifier is worth 3 points per match win. So let me give you a spoiler alert. I think Andy Murray was given a wild card for the Australian Open.
Oh, cool.
That'd be a damn good pick.
Well, U.S. Open, remember Raducanu was a qualifier, and she won.
Yes.
So
great knowledge drop. Last year, when we did the U.S. Open at the end of the year, the multiple people that picked Raducanu as a wild card
ended up catching up, beating everybody.
Ended up catching up and beating everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me repeat this. For the fantasy teams will be the tiebreaker if people tie for the $500 cash prize, which is to predict the men's finals, the women's finals, and both winners. If you hit that square on, you win. However, sometimes people pick the same thing. If that occurs, we will go to the fantasy team and we will break the tie. Some people don't like to play the fantasy team. They don't want to do the research. They don't want to look at draws. That's okay. You don't have to do both. But if you tie with someone and that person actually just pencil whipped something and stuck it on a piece of paper and just got 1 point and you just didn't do it, then they're going to win. So it might be in your best interest to pencil whip something, right?
Definitely.
Okay. If there's any questions about the fantasy team, again, once the tournament comes out, once the draws come out, select a maximum of 4 people that are seated within the top 20. No more than that. Select as many you can have. In other words, your team can have 8 players that are unseeded, and you can get 2 points per match win, and 1 wild card or qualifier, and you'll get 3 points per match win. Okay. Now, for each fantasy team winner, there's going to be 2. We are going to award $50. 50. Okay. How do you say 50 in Spanish?
50.
50. We're gonna deliver $50. 100. How do you say 100 in Spanish? Cientos. Let's go.
200, 100.
Cientos.
100.
Let's go. Come on. All right, so we're gonna give out 2 $50 prizes to first and second place in the fantasy team, okay? Or your choice of the same amount of money in Y-Tech strings, or Diadem merchandise, or 5K tennis merchandise. Okay? Or if you want to trade all that in for shout-outs every show during the Australian Open, we'll do that. We'll do that too.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Okay. Again, for the biggest prize of all, men's finals, women's finals, both winners. If you nail it, you got it. Now, what I did.
It's been a long time since someone's won, so.
Well, I think Matt Cain did.
Long time.
Long ago.
Long time.
All right, so I made an example team. Obviously, this is just make-believe, but I made an example team of a fantasy team. Okay, I just made this up ad nausea. I just pulled it out of my head. I chose Nadal and Djokovic as my 1-point players. I chose Opelka, Cilic, De Minaur, Khachanov, Musetti, and Hugo Humbert as my 2-point players, and I chose Murray as my wild card 3-point player. Mm-hmm. It's pretty sound, right?
Yeah. That's just an example.
Pretty sound. Mm-hmm. Notice that I only picked 2 1-point players. Okay, why is that important? Because most people that win this competition don't choose very many 1-point players. In other words, players that are seeded inside the top 20. Most people go with like Djokovic and just a bunch of 2-point players and then the best wild card, and they end up dominating. However, when the big 3 was around and you had, or big 4 even, Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, Murray, they would always sail through the semis and you would get points. But watch out, because the big 3, 4, Musketeers, whatever, they're not really intact anymore. Right. Okay? Be thoughtful on your picks. Do not turn in picks prior to the draws being released. Because believe me, if you do, the people out, and we have viewers on every continent that play this game. We have Asia, Africa, not Antarctica. I mentioned this earlier. South America, North America, Asia, and Europe. We have them covered.
Make sure you put your picks on this video.
Yes. Thank you, Carlo.
I'm just trying to, because he kind of,
Yeah, you're tripping, man. Okay. Let me go back and review my notes to make sure we didn't miss anything. Welcome to another 5K tennis year. Let's go. I've covered that. You can only have as many as 4 players seeded in the top 20. Mm-hmm. And believe me, most of the ballers that win, they don't have many of those. Okay, 2 winners for the fantasy teams, $50 each. Mm-hmm. Huge shout out to Gene Swart in South Africa and Thomas G in Canada.
Yes, you did.
Why am I reiterating this, Carla?
Because they're the ones that are going to keep track of your scores.
But why are they keeping track of it and not you and I this time?
Because we'll be very busy.
Because we will be very busy. So a big shout out also to Mirror Lake Racquet Club, which is a club which is here in Southern Alabama. And by the way, a club that we have been associated with, whether we believe it or not, with your father and when I was young, and it's nice to feel at home again. But we will be there every day, and we'll continue to do that until our arms fall off and until we see what we want to see, right? So if my arm falls off, that's cool, but I'm gonna die trying. So ultimately, Gene Swart and Thomas Chi are going to keep up with the games that we have created, and we have abided by for the past 3 or 4 years, and they're going to score it for us. So thank you very much to Thomas Chi and Gene Swart. By the way, if you make any errors in your team selections, make sure you get them fixed prior to the first ball being struck for the Australian Open.
There's also another rule that Justin forgets a lot, or that some of you guys always ask us. Let's say you picked Medvedev, and for some reason he pulls out of the tournament, and the first ball is struck. Whoever they put in his position, that's who you have to stick with.
The lucky loser.
Sorry.
Okay, so that's great. Good knowledge right there, Carla.
This always happens to us.
Love this girl. That's why she's like she remembers. She's like Wawrinka. Let's go. Okay, so yes, if let's say the tournament is about to begin and Djokovic says, you know what, I'm going back to Serbia, whatever.
Doubtful, but go ahead.
Anyway, if it occurs and say Tsitsipas jumps up to the number 1 seed, that's laughable, by the way. But if it were to occur,
he took many bathroom breaks, probably.
Yeah, exactly. However, if the match hadn't started yet, in other words, if someone gets stuck with a lucky loser, and the match hadn't started yet, and Gene Swart and or Thomas Cheek catch it, they will do their best to try to help you resolve this issue. But if no one catches it and the match begins, you are stuck with the lucky loser. In other words, at the worst case...
Sissipas won't be the lucky loser. They'll put someone you've never probably even heard of.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, now, okay, am I missing anything, Carla?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, I mentioned my fantasy team.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it.
Just make sure you guys do your research. Make sure you follow the rules on the rankings, because we always see ranking mistakes. And then when a player pulls out.
Oh, I have another thing. When you turn in these teams, the submissions must be in the comment section of this video.
Right.
Because all the competitors that play, myself, Carla, a bunch of other of you, a lot of you want to see one another's teams. So a lot of times this competition goes down to the finals or the semifinals. You know, someone's standing to win money or prizes, and they're like, oh shit.
That's okay. Put them in order, too. That's the other thing that bugs me.
Put it in order.
Put it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the order that you would have them on your sheet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty easy to do that. Type it. 1, the top 4, put them in order. Whatever. Just put them in order.
Again, that's why I wrote this team. So I'm gonna come over to where Jonathan is. This is my son Jonathan actually filming this. But when you submit your teams, like, I don't know if you can see that. But I had Djokovic and Nadal at 1 point. I had Opelka, Cilic, De Minaur, Khachanov, Musetti, Humbert as my 2 points.
And don't pick that team because you lose.
Yeah, don't pick the team. I just pencil whip something, and then Murray
Exactly
3, right?
Pick. So
So when you turn it into Gene Swart and Thomas Chi, who are all over the world with different time zones by far, Djokovic, Nadal are my 1 point players. Make a space. My 2 point players. Make a space for my wild card or qualifier.
all right.
Okay, so anyway, that's the competition. By the way, if you have any questions, please ask us, or Gene Swart or Thomas Chi,
Yeah.
and we will answer them very quickly. The Australian Open does not begin until January the 14th, I think.
I don't know.
Is that about right?
I have to look.
It's about January 14th, and we will begin then. So get your questions out of the way now. $500 this day and age is a lot of money, as well. 2 tennis
Even with inflation.
Inflation is bomb. Do you want to talk about inflation now or later?
No, later.
Do you want to talk about, Carla, do you want to talk about cryptocurrency now?
I have no clue.
Do you want to talk about...
We can ask my son about that.
Do you want to talk about Elon Musk and the
No,
space
let's
race?
go. Don't make this video too long.
All right. Thank you very much, Carla. Okay, I like your Roger Federer shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Nard.
Good brand, by the way. Quality shirts.
Uniqlo. Let's go. Okay, anyway, that's it. And we will try to do some of our daily podcasts
Yes.
when we're at Mirror Lake. But the problem is there's no Wi-Fi there, so that, and there's, we'll work on that. Let's leave that up.
Yeah, don't
Okay.
worry about it. All right, don't make this too long.
Anyway, much love. Can we get a let's go? Let's go! Come on! Let's go! Woo! Ric Flair! Let's go!
Adios.
See ya.